Hey, Diana here from Rose Cottage Doodles. I wanted to make a video for all my parents just so you would kind of have an idea of what to be preparing for when your puppy gets home. There's things that you're going to do at your home before the puppy gets here. Kind of consider that your puppy is an infant, like a little toddler that's going to be down on the floor crawling around, and maybe take yourself down on the floor and crawl around and see if you've got electrical cords, something that they might chew on or get tangled in and, get something wrapped around their necks, things that they might eat, they should not eat. Just kind of that thing. Just imagine yourself as a little toddler on the floor, go around that space. And really, when you get your puppy home, try to confine them to a small area before you let them have access to the entire house, just so that they start learning where their sleeping area is, their potty area is, and their eating area is. So it's important to start them small and graduate up to other areas, because what we want success, and we don't want accidents. We want on purpose. So if they know where they're supposed to use the bathroom and we're going there, and we remember, or we set a timer for ourselves to set a little timer so that every hour we remember to scooch them outside and go to use the bathroom. And it will take a while for that little, your infant to learn that routine, where it is exactly that you want them to go in your yard, their designated spaces and things like that. But what we want to do is set them up for success. And just remember, if you're a puppy, oops a peas in the house, it's your fault. It's not the puppy's fault. So we have to do the best that we can to make sure they're successful in that. And then everything else is just great. So what I want to do is let you know what's going to be coming in your package for your puppy when they get home. Most of what's over here will be in your little puppy kit. Things that are on this side are things that I just really highly recommend to make your life a little easier. And one thing that I really, really, really want to make sure that I talk about is that before your puppy gets home, go ahead and set up your well puppy visit when they get home, because you only have about a 72-hour window to get that well puppy visit in and to get that next vaccine in. So they had their last vaccine. The first vaccine they had was at 6 weeks, and their next one will be due at 8 weeks. So that's when they're coming home to you, and we don't want them to get behind on that, because it's very, very important to get that series done. It just protects them from really, nasty diseases like parvo and things like that. And also to make sure that until your puppy is fully vaccinated, that we don't allow them to come in contact with any areas where other dogs could potentially have, left fecal matter behind that your puppy could sniff or taste and then get really sick. So we've got to be really careful until that final series, just to keep them close home. And if you do take them out, you can put them in a little stroller. You can have one of those little carriers to put your puppy in like that. But keep them off the ground. Don't let them sniff and taste anything that might be, cause a bad disease. And so, talking about diseases, so this is your record from your puppy. This includes the shots that our vet gave them at their 6-week appointment, and the details from that vet appointment, like what they weighed, things like that. This is a little unmarked kind of letter. They are health tested, so if you want to go online and have access to that, this is what this will do for you. This is just a really nice place right here to keep everything together so that you will remember when it's time to vaccinate your puppy and what things have been given to your puppy. This is the actual tag. This is the buddy tag. This is the microchip that is in your puppy. So the numbers on the back of this should coordinate to your chip. And anytime that you take your puppy in, your vet should have a scanner, check it, make sure that it is still in place. I have been told sometimes they can travel underneath the skin maybe, but they should be in your puppy somewhere. And this little orange tag, you can put that on their little collar. So this will be in your record, and this is just a nice thing to have at home and keep it in a safe place. When you get your buddy ID at home, go ahead and get it registered as soon as you can. I've heard puppies or dogs that have gone home to their new owners and they had them outside and some sort of a traumatic event happened and the puppy ran off and they did not have the dog registered. They did have a chip in them, but it's better before something happens, go ahead and get your puppy registered. So this is going in your little go home bag. Something that's really important to talk about is nutrition. We've gone through different brands of food, and I have had 2 trainers who talked about the difference between Royal Canin, which is what we have been using for many years, and the Simply Nourish, which is PetSmart's brand of dog food. And read the ingredients. If you look at, we even read stuff for the Purina Pro and things like that, because Purina Pro sounds like such a wonderful food, but when you look at the ingredients on the back and you see corn and all the filler and stuff like that, I just don't think our dogs need that. So I have found that the salmon, the sweet potato for the small puppy, has just been really, really good for our puppies. So this is going to be in your go bag. And something that I make myself for my dogs, because I like to cook for my dogs for one thing, but sometimes you feel like they just need a little something extra. Simply Nourish makes a chicken. It's like a chicken vegetable sort of soup. And I'm going to send this home with you in case your puppy is a little depressed, or maybe, they're missing out on their family, and you put a little something extra. You don't want them to go too many meals without eating because they are little. So you can take this and spoon a little bit out over their kibbles just to get them a little more interested in it. And so this will be in your pack. And what's really cool is it comes with this little lid. So if you want to continue to add that to their kibble, this is great. Or you can make a chicken soup, and keep it in the freezer or whatever, so that they have a little broth or something in there just for more fun. And then I'm very, very careful about what kind of things that they have for chewing. I absolutely do not like rawhide. I think that those rawhides go into their stomach and sometimes they just get stuck and they get blocked up. And then you're going to have a really serious situation. So this Bentley's is a wonderful brand. And I've had PetSmart people talk to me about this. So it's a rawhide alternative. So it's not a rawhide product. And again, I like fish products because fish has omega-3s. And so again, we're giving them something to chew on, but it's also nutritious. So it's not like an empty kind of thing. So they're going to get something good out of this. And we're going to send some of these home. I at any chance, put some nutrition in your puppy. Okay. And of course, there's things for poops. Here's some things for poops. These little roll carriers, these are so nice, especially at this age and as they get older, to have something to clip their little bags to. So I'm going to send a couple of these just to remind you that you should always have these in your purse, your pocket, or something, because there's just nothing worse than going downtown for a walk and someone else's dog has been irresponsible and pooped. And then there you are, your puppy may take a bite of that poop or whatever. So let's be responsible with our poops by always having these little bags. These are going to go in your bag. And I like to have little wipes because just like with toddlers, you never know when someone might maybe they're going to spit up or throw up or have an accidental little round of something in the car or whatever. And you have these in the car or wherever you are, you can just flip that open, tear it out. Or if they come inside and they got some little wet dingleberries, wipe them off so they're not getting that all over the house. So these are just really nice, and these are geared for dogs. This will be in your little pack right here. And then this is also, and I guess I do go to PetSmart a lot, but I just feel like they have a lot of really great products. But you can always hunt for these things on Amazon or whatever. But if you could get your puppy enrolled in at least the beginner puppy class right after they get all of their vaccines done and their first rabies, because you will have to have that to get into class. Take that first puppy class because you and your puppy will have a chance to bond in an environment where you have a trainer who's experienced and all kinds of things. So if something happens or a situation comes up, we're like, my dog's just not ringing the bell. Why is my dog not ringing the bell? Why is my dog not doing this? You've got someone with a lot of experience who's going to, kind of help you through that. But I think you should definitely do this. I'm going to send some things in your thing too. Like once you start training, and we have already started this, you'll notice that your puppy will have a nice little sit. And that is because we have been starting that, the ability to look at us and have them make really nice eye contact by talking to them, by looking back at them, and by rewarding them every time they give us that look, that we want them to look at us, because then we know they're listening. So what I like to have is a little plastic baggie, and I use these little tiny mozzarella cheese sticks that are in the little plastic things. Like, let's say you're going to go for a walk or something, and you're learning some basic things with your puppy. This is already in a plastic sleeve. You can slide that in your pocket. You can open it up, squish it out just a little bit, just so that your puppy can sort of taste it as you go or smell it. You don't even have to give them a bite of it, just so they can kind of smell on it. You've got their attention. So at other times too, like if you know you're going to do some training and you want to just do little teeny tiny bits like this, little tiny bits. And one of the best things for this, for if your puppy is learning to not bite, is to make sure they understand our hands are for treats. Our hands are for treats, and so we want them to boop with their nose. We want them to touch with their nose. We want them to always reward them when they touch us with their noses, and to give them that little tiny treat right there. And the other important thing about teaching them to watch for our hands is that we may be giving them commands with our hands, like, we're going to do sit. We want them to go down, whatever, but we want to teach them that our hands are not for biting. Our hands are for treats. And this is just a really nice little reusable pouch. Keep it in the fridge, and you can keep using this over and over. I'll take that cheese out before I send it to you, though. And we have these, and the cool thing about these cheese sticks is they can get room temperature, they can get warm, keep them in the fridge or whatever. They're just amazing. Now, when it comes time to put your baby to bed, we have been putting them to bed with snuggle puppies. And I absolutely believe in snuggle puppies. They come with a heart inside, and there is a really, really good Velcro enclosure for this puppy. There's a little heart that has little batteries in it, and you push the button, and it beats like a heart. So they'll always feel like there's a companion in their crate or their den with them. Some of these, if I can find some, I'll try and send little heat packages. But they can also even be warm, like a body next to you. So these are absolutely, one will come home with your puppy. And it's already going to stink like puppies, so it'll smell good. And we'll also have a little blanket for your puppy. And we're going to get lots of smell on this puppy. It might not look exactly like this one, but we always like to have something with their home smell on it that they can cuddle up and put in their bed along with their puppy. So that's going in your package here. And then I am like best friends with a groomer, and her main complaint about people who bring their doodle in is that for some reason breeders tell them that they don't have to bring that puppy in until they're 6 months old, and that's just not so. We start teaching our puppies to enjoy the process of being groomed, because the main reason that I breed doodles is because they're hypoallergenic, which means they don't shed. If they don't shed, they have to get haircuts. So this brush is one that I do like. It's also another PetSmart thing, but it is squishy. You see how the bristles kind of push in like this? I don't know if you can see that. It has a soft pad, and the teeth right here, these are metal. So you have to be really careful when you use it, that you want to first feel what it feels like on your own skin. But when you're brushing your baby, start just when they're on your lap. Just gently brush them. There's nothing other than just having them enjoy the time of getting brushed. And then as they get older, you're really going to start learning, how to find those little tangles and mats and things with your brush. But the most important part of the brushing is your comb. The stainless steel comb, after you brush and you think you've gotten all the tangles out, go through with this comb right here, slide through, and whenever you feel a little gnat or a little tangle, go back and get that area out again so that they're not tangled up. And then when you take your dog to your groomer, they're going to give you the Best Parent Award for having really nice, neat, groomed dogs. So this is something that every parent should get used to doing. Some things over here, I highly recommend if you have a dog that does not shed, in between your groomings, you're going to notice that the hair around their eyes grows and the straight hair, so it's going to stick straight up right here in front of their eyes. And what I like to do is I get the steel comb right here, and I take the comb and I just brush the hair up like this. Then you'll be able to see the hair standing up here. If you're comfortable, I have a pair of blunt nose little scissors right here. You can take these little blunt nose scissors and you can kind of come in from underneath them and kind of come like this and snip off whatever's in front of their eyes. You could even come in above like this and snip that direction here. I also like to use these right here. These right here have the little teeth in them. And what these do is if you get you can also go in here, just lay it right here against the nose like that. Take off the little fuzzy parts right there so it's not in their eyes. And this, you might have to do this, maybe once a week, just so that they have really nice clear vision and so that the hairs aren't touching their eyes. Because if the hair touches your eyes, just like us, our eyes would get kind of itchy and whatever. So we want to keep that down. And I like to use regular human clippers on their little nails because they're still really tiny. So don't feel bad that these aren't like the big gigantic ones yet. Their nails are tiny. And we only want to clip off that little bitty tiny white end on the end. So this is great for that. Now when they get bigger and they're a few months old, you can graduate up to something like this where you'll be able to trim that off. Now my groomer was wonderful. She showed me how to use these. I don't like to do them. I just don't. I just don't. I let her do them. But this will be in here. These are things that I would like you to kind of research and find on your own. This is another important thing for your puppy's food as well. I have a tendency to overfeed. I like to feed my kids. I like to feed the grandkids. I like to feed my dogs. I overfeed them, and when you overfeed your dog, they will get diarrhea. So get yourself a little scoop. Read on the back of the bag. It says that a puppy that is 4 to 5 pounds only needs a total of 3/4 of a cup a day. So this is a 1/4 cup right here. 3 times a day right now is what we're doing. Eventually your dog will get bigger and you may only need to do twice a day. Our older dogs, we feed in the morning and then the evening and they're happy with that. So a 1/4 cup helps you, reminds you not to overfeed your puppy. Another thing that when your puppy first comes home, they're going to be alone and they're used to having litter mates and things. So what's a wonderful thing to put in them with their snuggle puppy, with their blanket, is a Kong. And what you can do with the Kong, if it has a nice big hole on the end like this, is pack some yogurt into it. And I like to use just the plain. You don't want any sugar. Don't want any flavors, nothing, just plain whole milk yogurt, because it also has what is that stuff in there for your gut? Yeah, it's got probiotics in there, so this is good stuff. You need some probiotics. You could actually go out and buy a probiotic to give to your puppy, but I love the idea of something natural like yogurt. You put this in there, put it upside down in the freezer, and maybe you have a couple of them in your freezer so that you can, go ahead and do it once a week. Put them in there, and at nighttime you put this in there with your puppy. They'll lick the yogurt out. They love yogurt. And in the morning, stick it in the dishwasher. Wonderful little things. And then this little thing right here. This is made by Kong. This goes inside of here to clean all the yucky junk out that might be in there. And you can get creative with your Kong. You could put some peanut butter in there. You could put some of their little kibbles in there to keep them really busy. Mix that up. Let it freeze. It nice and hard. You can maybe stick a couple blueberries, maybe some cranberries. That's really good for their digestive tract and the urinary tract too. So this is just a wonderful thing to keep in the freezer. Put them in the dishwasher. These are great. Another thing that I like to keep on hand is pure pumpkin. Nothing in it, just pure pureed pumpkin. No sugar, no spices, no nothing. I keep this in anytime that my puppy, if I notice, and I do watch for poops. Well, we're parents now, we got to watch for poops. If you have a soft poop, give them a tablespoon or a teaspoon of some pumpkin in their next meal, and that'll start to, firm it back up again. So this is just things that you should have in your pantry at all times. Another thing that you're going to need to have is something to clean their little ears. And we want them to get used to being played with around their ears. So again, if you have your puppy on the couch with you in the evening, this has coconut in it. I like anything has coconut in it. It's also an antibacterial. So you can also use it for their little paw pads. It keeps them from smelling like cheese and that bacteria that grows on their little feeties. Anything with coconut is good for that. But in the evening, to have some of this, take one of your little wipes, put some of this on there, wrap that wipe around your ear, and eventually they're going to absolutely love that you're putting your fingers in their ears and massaging their little ears. It is part of their spa time. It can be every day. And it doesn't take but a few seconds, and it keeps them from getting, nasty ear infections. You don't want them to have that. You also do not want your groomer to pluck the hairs out of their ears, because they're finding now that causes ear infections. So tell them to be really easy. If they have a lot of hair, they can kind of trim that hair off, but be very careful about plucking a lot of hairs. It causes ear infections. And then along with our grooming, this is Nature's Miracle is a product that I just keep going back to it. It's a really good product. This is also Nature's Miracle. If your puppy has an accident, please spray this where they had an accident, because if they smell the urine, they're going to go back to that same spot over and over again. So as soon as you find if they've had a mistake, spray it, leave it on there for 15 minutes. The enzyme should help take care of the urine, wipe it up really good, and then just keep this on hand. And then another thing is also the Nature's Miracle. You can get these in different scents and smells, and so whatever you like, but I find that it's really gentle and it helps take care of a lot of weird odors. So this is really good. This is something that my groomer recommended too. This is a spray, on a daily basis. If you're spraying your dog, take this, spritz it over a little bit. This makes it just easier for the brush to go through the bristles, and it doesn't leave any kind of weird film or stickiness behind, and it's kind of a nice, pleasant smell. So it's just really good. This is on Amazon, another product you can find there. And this is something that you can put in your bathtub. It's got little sticky things. Or let's say you're doing something where you're trying to get them to be still for a minute, push it down on the floor, a nice hard surface, put some peanut butter, put some cheese whiz or something in it. It keeps them busy for a few minutes. Or on the side of the bathtub, if you have them in the bathtub and you're giving them a little bath, you can put this on the wall, and they just have something to lick, keep them occupied. This is something that we have just started using. This is a top paw. So this is a piece of turf that also has a reusable pee pad in it. I don't know if you've ever had a puppy pull out one of those paper pee pads with the absorbent stuff inside of it and shred that up. It's pretty disgusting. But this pad inside is washable. You can rinse it out, hang it up and whatever, or you can have a couple of these ready to go. This also has there's not a picture of it, but it has a little square that you sit this in. And what we do is we start them off in our playpen with these. And then we start taking them out, and then we start moving them to the door where we know they're going to be going out. So they're already kind of going in the direction that we want them to be. And if it's a particularly bad day, we may not want to go outside and pee in the rain or the snow or whatever. So it's nice to they have a designated pee spot. And this is just nice because it's reusable. And something that I would like probably for you to do is pick out a harness that you just find that's kind of your style. But when I look for a harness, I do like to have something that's easy to put on and off. It clicks on the sides here, it has a ring on the top that you can put your leash to. And the reason that this leash is so thin and so fine is because your puppy is little and tiny. So we want them to be able to, when we're first leash training, you want a really lightweight leash so they can have something that you may let them drag it around a little bit in the house so they can get used to it so that it's not something scary. And then on the other side of the harness is another D-ring. So if your puppy and you are going for a ride in the car, you want to have one of these. I highly recommend having a safety thing in your car because you just never know. You could have an accident in your car. Your dog could get, thrown around inside the car, or maybe the door comes open when you're not expecting it to and they jump out and they could run in traffic. So this little D-ring attaches to this D-ring, and then this buckles into the little buckle, your seatbelt buckle. So they're buckled in, all nice and polite, sitting there like a proper little dog, and they're in their little harness. When you get out of the car, you just undo the D-ring, and that can stay attached to your car. Highly recommend one of those. And then, again, the harness, so they have the D-ring here. They also have a D-ring up here. We train the dogs not to pull, so we don't really worry too much about having a collar with their leash on their collar. Some dogs are really bad pullers. I have not known mine to be pullers at all, but like I said, we start them very early, being used to having the leash on their little harness and being able to walk with that very early. What we're giving them today, and this is their third round of wormer. So this is what we give them. We do this at 3, 5, and 7 weeks. So this is a parental pomate. And if you want to have some of this at home for all of your dogs, this is good. You could give it to them, once or twice a year. It's great for them. This is what your puppy will have a measured dosage of this later on today. Another thing that is something to do with your training, this little clicker. And it took me a long time to get used to a clicker because you have to be coordinated. So anytime you see your puppy doing something that you want, like they come up to you and they look up, say thank you. This is like, thank you. And if you don't happen to have a treat in your pocket or whatever, this is like, yes, yes. Anytime you see them do it, immediately tell them, this is great. If they sit down on their little butt into a nice sit, say thank you. This is great. Say yes. This is, if you're not able to say the command for sit or whatever, load up your clicker, give them the treat. And this is how we communicate. Eventually, you don't have to have the clicker anymore. Eventually, you can just say sit, and they're amazing. Doodles are so smart. You're just going to absolutely love the training process with them and how well behaved they are. But I like that little thing just in the beginning so they learn to communicate. They learn your language, you learn their language. Here's another treat that I really like. It took me a while to accept that this is a really good treat, but bully sticks, which is made out of the bull testicles, is something that dogs just really, really like. And there's no filler in it. It is what it is, bully sticks. So if you can order these and keep these around for your dogs, these are just, again, a really good thing for them to chew on and have as a treat. So there's that. One more thing that is especially important is that your puppy knows that they have a safe place in your home. And their safe place is their den. Their den is their crate. And whatever crate you decide that you're going to have for them, it is important to understand that this is not a punishment area. This is not a timeout kind of thing. This is for your puppy to sleep in, to relax in, to know that this is their safe place. They can go there whenever they get a little sleepy, a little tired. That's what our puppies do. Our crate door is open all the time, and they go in there, they find their snuggle puppy, they find their blanket and their little whatever toy they want to have. They'll go in there and they get tired and they go in there and they'll go to sleep. And if they fall asleep on the floor, you can scoop them up and put them in the crate, and let them have a good night, a good nap. And it's important to understand that puppies sleep 18 hours a day. And if they don't get their sleep, they're going to be grumpy. but also that safe place is a place for them to go. You may have other dogs in your house or other animals or children or other beings in the house, but they need to know that there is a place for them. We use the wire crates because I like to be able to see what's going on in there, but I have had trainers who tell me that really the best crate for your dog is the hard plastic-sided crate. They have a plastic bottom, and that way if something happens in the crate, if they get sick or something in the crate, you can take that crate out, hose it out, it gets clean, not a problem. And it's also just cozier. It's much more den-like. The enclosed plastic hard-sided crate is a little more safe feeling than what we have. We have to put blankets on top of ours and stuff like that. But like I said, I like to see what's going on when I have puppies in my crates, and I like the open ones better personally. And so once you do have your crate and you want them to go inside, throw in some little kibbles. Make it a fun time for them. Make it a fun experience. Those little kibbles in as a game, so they'll go into the crate and they'll, go after them and let them come out. You can close the door for a little while, open the door, but do not open the door if they're crying. You wait for them to stop crying, and then we open the door, because we don't want them to believe that all they have to do is, have a little temper tantrum or cry, and we're going to open that door. They need to be sitting in there nice and quietly, and you may have to watch for it, but as soon as they're quiet, we open the door if you decide you want to, if they're not happy. But at nighttime, they need to be in their crate so that they tell you that they're up and about and they need to go use the bathroom. So the crate is the best way to make sure that you know when they have to go, and they start talking to you about when it's time to go. That's the first door that gets open for them, is their little crate. So have their safe place ready for them at home. And you may want to have that crate beside your bed at nighttime so that you can reassure them, so that you can hear what they're doing in their crate and you can hear when they wake up. Our puppies wake up about 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's their first round, to go out and use the bathroom. And then they eat their little breakfast not long after that. And then 15 minutes after that, they're going to use the bathroom again. And then they're going to have some playtime, and then they're going to want to go to sleep. So once they go to sleep or they get sleepy, whatever, if they don't wander into the crate themselves, you can scoop them up, put them in a little crate, close the door, and make sure they have a nice little nap. Then when lunchtime comes around again, we're going to use the bathroom. They're going to have their lunch. 15 minutes later, we're going to have to eliminate, and then they're a little playtime. And then in the evening, after they've had their last meal, you want them to play and eliminate again. And then we finish feeding them at 6 o'clock. We let them have a little water up until 7 o'clock. And then after 7 o'clock, the water has to be picked up. Otherwise, they're going to they kind of want to play in the water bowl, and then they'll want to pee all night long. So let's stop the water at 7 o'clock. The food's at 6 o'clock. Let them eliminate. And then right before we decide to go to bed, we tend to go to bed about 9 or 10 o'clock. We let them go outside. And we're not outside, but the big dogs are. The little ones are eliminating right before bedtime, and then they go to bed, and then they're sleeping through most of the night. They might get up sometimes right now still at 7. We just turned 7 weeks old today, so they're still getting up sometimes at around midnight, maybe 2 o'clock. So yours should be sleeping from, say, 10 o'clock till about 5 or 6 o'clock, and just be ready for that early time. And if they're not awake, go ahead and you can wake them up and take them outside. But they'll need to get up at least by 5 or 6 o'clock in the beginning to start going out. And then they'll start getting used to your time in your home. So have that ready for them when they come home. If I have left something out, I will make another video for that. And if you would like to have a little more details, like on how to give them their bath and shampoo, how to use the scissors and things like that, I'll make some more videos. Something that I'm doing at home now with my own dogs is using a grooming kit called One Is All, and I could make some videos using that where you can groom your dog yourself at home. If you have one doodle, it's not that big a deal, but when you have 2, 3, 4, and 5 doodles and you're taking them into the groomer every 4 to 5 weeks, it can get kind of expensive. So if you can do something to maintain their beautiful coats in between the groomings, then it's just even better. So if you would like to have a video like that, let me know. And if you have any questions, again, you can, text me. I am always here for my babies and for my parents.